Hi, it's Oksana from BeWellBuzz. Today we decided to integrate something else into our protocol, which is acupuncture. So we're here today with Dr. Thomas, who just did an amazing treatment on both of us, and we just want to ask him a few questions, see if maybe there's something that he can suggest for you and for us as well to integrate into our cleansing protocol. So Dr. Thomas, please tell us more a little bit about yourself. How did you start into this? What got you attracted to Chinese medicine?
Oh.
I'd love to know that.
Well, hi everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Dr. Thomas Kouo, and I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. So a little bit different than traditional doctor in that we follow the East Asian Chinese medicine traditions, and so based on a slightly different physiology, but nevertheless a whole different system, and yet one that works in a different way, sometimes better, sometimes worse. It just kind of depends on what we're trying to do. And but in terms of myself, I was interested in medicine for a very long time. My sister is actually a very successful radiologist from Western side over at University of Maryland, and so when she went into medicine, I looked at medicine in a different way. I came from actually a different profession I did for a little while, and then decided to move into medicine. And the way I saw it is I saw that Western medicine is really so strong and certain in what they do. And what we see is that here in the United States, their presence is so strong, and there have been so many advances that I feel like, you know, they are so set and do what they do so well that for me, I was more interested in finding what else was available, what else is out there, and whether or not we have an opportunity to be able to offer something different for people to use to maintain or promote their health. And so going back to my own particular roots, went and found the Chinese medicine and decided to, which I kind of grew up with. I always knew about it, but never thought I would actually, you know, pursue it as a job. And then, and finally decided that, you know, this is something that really interests me, both from a philosophical standpoint as well as cultural standpoint, and then with a lot of family and history and things like that to pursue. So I went into that and found that it was something that really meant a lot to me personally, spoke to me, and so here I am, you know, doing this and trying to. Yeah.
Well, thank you. One question for you. So as you know, we're doing the cleanse. So what is your take on a cleanse?
Okay, I think cleanse is in general, there's many ways to look at it. I think a cleanse is on the very surface. Of course, we look at it and we say, well, these to rid the body of toxins. I think, you know, who can argue with that and say that's not a good thing? Of course, yeah, of course, it's a good thing. What we have to be careful of, and I think what a cleanse is good for specifically, and for us personally as people and the evolution of our beings, is to really make sure that when we go ahead and do a cleanse, no matter what cleanse you want to do, this cleanse, that cleanse, this cleanse, you know, ultimately it comes to trying to rid toxins from your body in a specific manner over a specific period of time. And I think what it makes us face is it makes us face really looking into what is it that we're trying to do, and what is it we're trying to do too, right? We're trying to affect our bodies, so we have to really learn about, you know, what is this cleanse we're doing? You know, what are the substances that are being used? How does it affect our bodies? And then really looking at, you know, our bodies. I think this is kind of the unspoken half that we sometimes almost ignore. Is we look and we say we have such a well created regimen, and we have a well you know, put together nutritious nutrients, exercise kind of program, that sometimes we also have to remember that one of the other half of that is to make sure that we're in really, really close communication with our own bodies. And so we have to start looking at our bodies. And one thing that our medicine does very specifically is to look at the body, listen to the body, and understand the body. And of course, that's, you know, something maybe we don't always do. So we have to kind of become reacquainted with that to say, okay, everything that occurs inside, everything that I put in my body, everything that I do to my body will show up in a specific way. And so we look and we say, you know, our skin, our eyes, our spirits, our moods, everything of this is a reflection of how we're doing, you know. So we have to kind of look at that and say, hey, if we have something on the body that's shown up, it's not simply just, you know, oh, there it is, but actually this is a communication from our body to tell us something. So what is it trying to tell us? And that's what we have to kind of figure out and take the time to look at. And when we're doing that, then the process of the cleanse becomes much safer, because not only do we have the well thought out regimen that we are going to follow from kind of a mental and theoretical standpoint, but we're also in communication with our own bodies to know how we're doing it, and it'll tell us, you know, it tells us above all, you know, whether or not, you know, it says there on paper what we're supposed to feel, exactly. You know, we'll know better than any specific, you know, because each of us are different, you know, and so what's there on paper for one person may affect another person differently. So exactly. We have to be very careful about that. But in general, I think cleanses are good. I don't think cleanses should be done that often, but I think that, you know, certainly, you know, you can't argue with the fact that ridding your body of toxins is a good thing. You just have to make sure you do it in a way that maintains the integrity of the body and the body's system. I think the body is meant to go through trauma. You know, I think that's one thing that hard to say. You know, we want to so much, especially in Chinese medicine. A lot of times we say, you know, really, it's the middle way. It's the non-resistance. No, we don't want to ever traumatize the body or anything. But I think the body is meant to withstand that. And I think it's the only way in which we grow. Is that, you know, we break down, we build back up, and build back up stronger. You know, it's just if you break down, and not enough time to build up, then sometimes we get ourselves in trouble. That's the main.
Then you really need a cleanse.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's great. So, what are the main principles of Chinese medicine? If you can just simply explain it, because I know you told us about, like me and Larry specifically, we have a lot of heat in our body already. So what does that mean? How does that come out actually in a physical appearance? Is that a certain feel that we, you know, is it maybe we're damaging some organs? Should we stop doing something? Should we add something else? Like, what are the principles of all that?
Well, Chinese medicine is back, you know, it's a very, very old medicine. So back in the old times when the medicine was developed, the way that they describe things are ways that we look at now and say, oh, it seems very simple, you know, very philosophical things like balance, like we have a yin-yang, you know, everybody knows that symbol, that, you know, tattoo or something. But we have like these, basically meaning balance. We have dark, we have light, we have night, we have day, we have all these things that we realize that everything occurs cyclically, right? So we have one thing that leads to the next thing, that leads to the next thing in a particular orderly manner, right? And so when that orderly manner is disrupted or stops, maybe, then we have disorder within the body. So the first thing we know, the underlying principle of the body, is that there is a way. There is a way that it's supposed to be. And so we have to first understand what that way is, and then also be able to monitor whether that is being maintained or coming off. Right. Then we look at other things. We look at like the balance between the organ systems in our body. Like, for example, when we were talking with you and Larry earlier, we were saying like the different organ systems, what's strong, what's you know, relatively strong, what's relatively weaker, and all that kind of thing. So, and understanding that, again, these are not isolated systems, but a system within, or each system that works together. And so we see that, you know, within that chain, you know, what links need to be fortified, what links need to be, facilitate the push through that to the next stage, and so forth. So the main principles in Chinese medicine is that, you know, that there are many systems with which we look at the body, and we have to maintain the harmony and the integrity within those systems. So there's so many that it's hard to talk about each one, but that there are many ways in which we try to achieve balance, and that's sort of different than traditional medicine, in that, you know, traditional medicine is very, very good at finding what's the problem. Here's the problem, change it. And you know, they're unrivaled with that, really, with the way that they do it and the strength at which they are able to go into the body and change things, really unrivaled. For us, we don't necessarily have that kind of microscopic type of view. We kind of look at more the macro kind of cosm, the whole body, and say, like, how do we change the entire system to help facilitate change in that one area, you know, and, you know, without saying that we don't have any regard for those areas. Of course we do, but we have both. We have what we call branch and root treatment. So we treat what is the problem, but if we don't treat the cause of it, then that problem comes back, or or we can't maintain that kind of change. It simply becomes kind of a band-aid type treatment, which is not how what we don't look at as like really good medicine from our perspective. Different from other medicines and how they work. But for us and the means in which we look at, that's not how we work.
Exactly. So it's kind of, we were just talking earlier that, your digestive system is pretty much your, in a way, engine of your body. If the digestive system is disrupted, the lining of the walls, and your immune system goes down, and then, of course, if the engine's not working, then you can't really drive too far, right?
Right.
Or even if there's a little bit of glitch, it's going to disrupt something else. So it's a system that each and every individual piece has to work unanimously and in harmony. So that's fascinating. And with acupuncture, so I know a lot of acupuncture medicine is based on herbs and medicinal mushrooms. We will be integrating a lot of those in our cleanse, but I was wondering if there's something specific, maybe 2, 3, maybe 5 herbs that you think will be beneficial for anyone who's starting the cleanse, whether it's helping detox in the liver or maybe just easing in the detox so you don't really feel that overwhelming, feeling of strong detox, you just get sick.
Right.
So kind of to balance that out and help the body to process.
Yeah. Well, I think certainly yes. I think firstly we have to look at and say, okay, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we want to see like what's already part of the regimen. Like I know, like when you're saying your regimen, you're actually incorporating a lot of herbs. So in fact, there's quite. I think from what you were saying, it's actually a modification of a particular formula that you're adding. Plus, you're adding a lot of like the mushrooms and stuff like that are really very good in terms of like immune system adaptogenics and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do think herbs are really important, I think, for this, and the reason being is that especially when you go through a large full regimen like this, and remember that anytime you do a cleanse, you're basically taking the body and moving it from one place to another. Hopefully, idealistically in a better place, right? But we're actually moving, and so in that movement, we have to make sure that the movement is moved uniformly and also in the proper direction, right? Because we have so much of the body, so many systems that everything has to be carried all over into that new healthier direction. So we want to make sure that ultimately the whole body is taken with you versus just strong immune system, respiratory system not doing so well, right? So I think in terms of that, herbs are important for that, and then secondly, we want to make sure that we get the most out of our cleanse. We're going to do a cleanse. We've already decided we're going to do that, so we want to do it in the healthiest manner, and we're going to have the best results from that. So one of the things, in herbal medicine, I was saying to you earlier, we have a couple, cardinal rules. First, you don't take your herbs, you're not going to get better, right? And secondly, which is maybe almost as important, if not more important, is if you don't assimilate the herbs, if you're not able to digest the herbs, you're also not going to get better, right? So one of the things that we want to make sure is that if part of this cleanse, which yours is the use of a lot of nutritional supplements and herbs and formula like that, then you want to make sure that throughout the process of your cleansing, which is kind of an outward process, that you're still able to assimilate inward, because remember, the body has a way, and it has a direction, and so if it's so focused on outward thrusting of impurities from the body, that bringing things in sometimes is difficult, because you think it is an actual physiological process. You have stuff coming out, and then if you're also trying to go inward, you have to think that, well, the process of going inward can affect the outward thrust, right? So we want to make sure that in the tonification or the boosting up of the body's system, we don't affect the process of the outward thrusting of the toxins. You know what I mean? So we even have that kind of physiological direction thing that we have to keep in mind. So when we look at the herbs that you've put in, we have to look at the balance of that, the balance of what is there to rid the body of toxins, which is kind of the purpose of the cleanse, versus how much is inward causing our body to, in fact, tonify, right? Because we don't want to tonify on top of internal toxins, otherwise we trap those toxins in the body, right? And although the level of those toxins are probably not such that we would be symptomatic, or we'd see right now, over time, being in there for years and years and years and years, later on when the body declines and they start to come out, that's when we're like, well, where did that come from, right?
Yes.
And so it has to do actually with the fact that the improper balance of inward outward, and that's really kind of a important factor for us to consider when we look at like herbal things with these kinds of physiological processes, is to make sure that we don't disrupt the process, the main process that's occurring, and we actually support that. Plus, we need to, of course, again, assimilate the things, because a lot of times we have quite a lot of things to assimilate. Some things are like a lot of things based on minerals and things that are really tough to digest. So we have to make sure we support digestion enough to be able to get those in, so that so that they can have the proper effect. And then we can have the best results from that cleanse as possible without harm afterward, and in the same token without disrupting the process that's occurring. So we can make sure that we don't cause problems for later either.
Exactly, so it's sustainable results.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So one more thing, I was wondering, so acupuncture, right? We will integrate this in our protocol.
Okay.
So can you share how important is acupuncture? How does this help the process? Is it stabilizing? Is it balancing? Is it speeding process up? Like, what functions does acupuncture perform more for the body when you're going through a cleansing process? Great.
Yeah. I think acupuncture is actually pretty important. And what I would say is, like, I'm not saying that acupuncture is the only thing that you can do, and that, but I think what's important is that you have a well-balanced approach to your cleanse, because again, the cleanse affects the body on so many levels. People who have been through cleanses will report many things. They feel euphoric, they feel healthier, they feel lighter, they feel all these kinds of things. So we see that it works on a lot of levels. It works on the body, it works on the spirit, it works on the mind, clearer heads, all these kinds of things. So in the same token, your approach to the cleanse has to affect all the levels of the body. Now, from a physiological standpoint, from our medicine, we look at it, we say, well, we have the body's physiology, the body, the organs, and we have the muscles, the fascia. Then we also have the body's, we can say, energies, or what we call qi. And so qi flows in a systematic manner in the body. And so, and through that, partially with the qi flows the blood. So we understand blood circulation, right? And blood circulation is really important for each cell of the body, both for the nutrition of each cell of the body, as well as we can say the awareness of each cell of the body within that whole system. So what acupuncture does is acupuncture makes sure that everything that you change in the physiology through the cleanse, because when you clear stuff out, that stuff was part of you. We don't want it, but it was part of you, and that stuff's leaving. So as we do it, leaves the body changed. So the way that the body has a sort of adaptability quality, which is really good in terms of those adaptogenics you were talking about, assimilating those into the supplemental routine of the cleanse. The body's ability to adapt is really important, and one of the ways that we, through acupuncture, help that is through the circulation and unblocking of the qi flow of the body, so that all the changes that are made at that cellular level is able to be circulated throughout the whole body in a uniform manner. And so what it does is just allows the body to, during the process, it's almost like a check-in. It also allows anywhere where the body is starting to accumulate awareness, which means we have the whole system's 100%. If we're trying to concentrate more, let's say, on the digestion, then 70% goes to digestion, then we realize that there are other things that are being neglected. And so even though at this point we say, well, we're trying to treat this, we still have to function each day, and the whole body still needs to work in the same kind of manner, so that we through the acupuncture allows us to again redistribute the body's resources in a uniform manner, so that it's just a much healthier approach to that. Plus, that circulation now means that the whole body becomes aware of each change of what's going on. Yeah, so that the body's ability to adapt is much more facilitated, and that's really important when we make such, in some cases, sometimes really drastic changes to the body, and hopefully drastic in a very, very good manner. So, so that's really important, is to make sure that the whole body is able to keep up with it, and that's kind of what we do with the acupuncture, as well as just making sure that the person stays as stress-free as possible, and also
levels out your mood swings.
Yeah, right. Well, hopefully the cleanse helps. You have that euphoria and that feeling of healthy. I mean, when you're very, very healthy, you feel really good, and that's one thing that we really want people to have, is that there's nothing like feeling really healthy. Yeah. So. So I hope that the cleanse is going to be that for you and everybody else that decides to pursue this. I think it's again, a really good idea, and then I also think that just we have to be smart about it, and if we are, I think it's a really good way to improve your health, and then it's not on to the next level, which is maintenance, right? So yeah.
Fascinating stuff. Well, I gotta say, I feel amazing. I came in, I was like a little bit, in a way, tired, but now I'm like full energy, all right, recharged, good to go. Well, if any one of you that is watching lives in San Diego, feel free to come see Thomas. If you don't mind sharing where you're located.
Oh, I'm located in Hillcrest, basically I guess within San Diego proper, and pretty central to anything in San Diego, and of course, there's a lot of people that are here. San Diego and California in general, we have quite a lot of acupuncturists, and definitely just give it a try. See if it works for you, and if it does, then I think it's a great option for you.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
All right,
Thanks.
very good.